You know, we are hearing from WWL alumni all week long, and it's been such a treat so far. And, you know, they're sharing their memories a lot that we all can just, you know, connect with about Eric.
Yeah, we all have the same stories we're learning. Joining us now is the former First Lady of New Orleans, WWL anchor, CBS News anchor, Michelle Miller. Good morning to you,
Good morning.
ma'am. Can you hear us?
Uh-oh, hopefully we
can. We're having some technical difficulties. You know, in the setup, Michelle was telling us that she was she's in the passenger seat on the way to work. There you go.
Oh, there we go. We hear you now. Awesome.
There you are.
Good morning.
Good morning. I don't know what you asked me, but I just have to say that every time I think of Eric, with a smile on my face. So if it seems as though I'm smiling profusely, I'm thinking about all the times that he made me laugh. When I was down, when I needed a friend, when I needed a mentor, when I needed someone who had my back, Eric Paulsen was there with always the encouragement. And you know, I had a lot of times I needed to have people behind me, pushing me and ensuring that I was safe and, you know, looked after. That's always what Eric was for me.
What was it like sharing the set with him for so long? You were on this show for a very long time.
I know, I was there for 7 years.
Yeah.
And I tell you, you know, Eric was the first anchor that just let it all ride. You know, he was the person who would say the most, shall we say, the things that we were all thinking in our head that not necessarily felt we could say out loud. And he was so free with who he was. He was the person who believed in the authentic self. And nowhere else had I seen that to that point other than WWL, because I felt, you know, those of us who had been in the game felt as though we had to put on the broadcast anchor voice and we had to stay straight. But Eric was so authentically himself everywhere that he fit in everywhere. He fit in everywhere. And that's something I so appreciate about him.
Yeah, you know, just hearing a lot of your stories and the stories everyone's sharing, it's been really unique for us because Eric would tell me every story about everyone he's ever worked with. So in a lot of ways, I feel like I know a lot of you, even though we haven't had the chance to meet, because I know you from the stories he would share, and I know he was immensely proud of you. And he told me that you guys had very much like a brother-sister relationship where you would sit here and have food out and be picking off each other's plates and swatting each other's hands.
Oh. And yes, and what I think of, so I was always trying to make Eric do things that he'd never done before. And for a person who'd been there 20 to 30 years before you had ever set foot in New Orleans, that was saying, well, maybe it was just 20 years when I was there, but you know, it was nearly impossible. But I will say, I got him on his first haunted walking tour, and I took pretty much a good cadre of cohort from the morning show. I got him to I believe his first babysitting gig, because when my son was born, I would take Mason over to his house and just plop him in Eric's lap and say, get with it, Eric. I think he was like, I'm used to babysitting my own kids, not anybody else. I was like, I need a break. But he was always there when you needed him, no matter what the assignment. But he understood it, for sure.
Talking about your children, you mentioned your son Mason, your daughter's Margot, right?
Yes, yes.
And so as we say that, in the driver's seat of the car is a certain somebody that we all know well, too, if we can just take the shot. Good morning to you, Mayor, if you've got any words to share.
Hey, WWL.
Well, he says, do you have any words to share? I have the earbuds in.
You know, I grew up with Eric. Eric was on the air in New Orleans when I was in high school, and he just was a permanent presence at WWL. Never met a more authentic person. He was always fun to interview with. He always challenged you, but he let you get your point across. He'll be people in this that just with him. since in July. And I'm just shocked beyond words. He is a great person. He's one of God's great creations.
Most definitely. Thank you for that. That's beautifully said.
That is, yeah. Yeah, we just appreciate both of you. It's nice to get to talk about our friend with people who knew him so well.
And I've got to say this. I've got to say this, Michelle, before we let you go. Funny story. I mean, you're over at CBS Mornings. Eric likes to talk about the fact that one day he had a conversation with Gayle King, and he told her, you know, it did you a favor giving you all of my audience. And immediately Gayle was upset. And CBS brass called the station. Todd, our general manager, had to talk to Eric. He loves sharing that story.
He loved to tell people that story. So
I never did that. There's so many stories about CBS people and WWL people. It's not the first time there's been a counterculture clash between those two entities. But I'll tell you, just come and share another story I've heard. But there's some great stories. Eric was never who you were. If he had a point to make, he was going to definitely share it with you. And I just say that part of the reason I always felt so still so much a part of WWL was because of Eric. Certainly Sally Ann, but Eric, they were just fixtures in New Orleans and at WWL. And, you know, I wish you all the best, you know, picking up from where they left off, because they left us such a brilliant legacy.
They did, yeah. It's hard shoes to fill, and we're just hoping that we can honor them each day by doing our best. And thank you both so much for taking the time. We appreciate you, and we're cheering you on from New Orleans always.
Thank you.
Thank you.